Well, thank you so much again for being on time, late 5 minutes, but that should do. I would love to share with you some of the nutrition value of dairy products today and the importance of milk and other dairy in human nutrition. And I always get a question from friends, family. They ask me, is really milk important? I was like, my simple answer is, you have a newborn baby, try to feed them orange juice and see if is milk important or not. I mean, you will see the results in a couple of weeks. Why is it important? All the rich nutrients is a rich source of nutrients that is difficult to find in other sources that are readily and highly accessible. So Joe here called me Mr. Protein. Yes, I'm Mr. Protein. The protein in milk have a PDCAS of 1, which means whatever protein you consume from dairy, your body absorbs it 100%. That's what PDCAS is for, is fully utilized by the body. It supports the growth and development, and that's, I think, over hundreds of studies. Safe, wholesome, gives you all the nutrients that your body needs in terms of minerals, in terms of vitamins, proteins, fats, except the fibers. We talked about it yesterday. And of course, it's the first food introduced to the newborns. I would like to start with the protein because that's the trend. We talked yesterday about the consumer trend, especially in snacking for future. Future focus will be on snacks, not on whole meals. Even frozen food will take a very long time for us to prepare. So we want something in a pack, we open it, snack, and keep it going. So protein is in the top priorities, as we saw from most of the studies done on younger consumers. And there's a big difference between casein and whey. I started with that again. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, but I'm in food science, so I work closely with nutritionists. I read a lot about nutrition, and I get the question always in the gym with my friends, should we consume casein, cheese or whey, which one? And simple, let's take a look at it, and based on all the studies, how our body digests casein and whey. Casein is very slow digestion. It really forms a gel in the stomach, compared to the whey is very fast, it's very quick. That's why it's water soluble. The casein is not water, it's water insoluble. It's really slow. It forms a gel and releases amino acids overnight. It takes very long time. It's good or bad? It's not. There's no good and bad. There's just different applications, different nutritional values. Whey is best for workout. Post-workout recovery, whey is your friend. Casein is more on building the muscle for long term, but recovery from heavy activities, performance, athlete, you need whey because it's very fastly absorbed and synthesized by the body. Bioactive peptides, well established for antihypertensive. Casein is known for their peptides when it's hydrolyzed, reduce the blood pressure. There are dozens of studies on that. Yesterday I shared, I think, 15 studies, clinical studies that very complete and show a very solid results on antihypertensive. Whey has a lactoferrin, one of the subfractions, which is antimicrobial and antioxidant. And that's why you feel relaxing after consuming whey, after heavy workout, because it's antioxidants. So remove all the ROS and the species that in your muscles, from the lactic acid, from the regenerating from new cells. It bind to it and flush it outside the bloodstream. Calcium binding, it binds to calcium. You need casein for calcium. So if you're only counting on whey, you don't get calcium because whey does not bind to calcium. But whey rich in BCAA, branch chain amino acids. Those are 3 of them: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Your body needs them. Those are essential amino acids, branch, and we will see their functions in a few slides. Yes, please, is a discussion. Is a discussion. So please, if you have any questions.
I want to slow you down.
Yes.
Dr. Burton. Could we, though, we all, everyone sees the container and the workout, recovery, etc. But that is interesting, but we've been there, done that. Can you talk to us about another use case, which is, okay, I have a cup of coffee and I need a breakfast or something for breakfast and then I need to go to work on a normal day. High energy, but it's not a workout. It's like, but how does casein and whey play in that use case, which is a normal day? I need to load up in the morning because I need sustained energy, clarity of thought, all the rest of it.
Great question. So, protein is not a source of energy. It's more on your muscles. It does give you 4 calories, but it's not your fuel. You need something more on sugars. That's the fuel for the day. However, consuming casein at early stage in the day, in the morning, it will give you enough supplies for the body to maintain the balance between catabolic and metabolic, which is a great thing. You don't need whey. Whey introduced for heavy activities. If you're performing really heavy activities and how the muscle works during the heavy workout, you don't build muscles. You break down muscles. That's the whole idea. So workout, you don't build muscles, you break down muscles. Immediately you need something to recover. That's where we recommend whey. But if you want a day that I want to stay active and alert, I think I recommend casein, which is much more important for your diet. And that's why in all the cultures, if you look at the breakfast, especially in Mediterranean culture, cheese is the first thing they eat in the morning, early in the morning. And that's what sustains a good focusing, a good mental activities through the day. However, if you talk about, I want to be alert and active, there's other ingredients because there's no alertness in proteins. There are other things in the fat we will talk about in a few slides that can help, but you need to combine it with other sources. And yesterday we talked about hybrid products, and we gave some examples like Spyet, where they combine caffeine with milk, and that's based on the consumer's feedback. Satisfaction almost 90%, that gives you energy to go through the day. Focusing, energy, feeling like I can do all my physical and mental activities. Did that answer your question? More or less? And I promise we will see things about brain function and neurotransmitters when we comes to the fat. So let's talk about casein a little bit. We have alpha S1, S2, beta casein, beta casein A2, kappa, and gamma casein. The percentage almost standard except the A1 and A2. They varies by breed, and that's why you see milk in the market says A2 because it's more friendly for digestion. They have different function within the milk, but for the health benefits, alpha S casein may support muscles growth. There are some studies, but not very solid. I couldn't find any strong clinical studies. S2, they enhance calcium absorption significantly, contributes to the bone health. A1, the beta casein A1, release beta casomorphin, which is called BCM7, and that is a peptide that links to digestive discomfort. That's why a lot of consumers claim to have issues with the milk, even lactose-free, is actually because of the casein A1. And it just triggers a peptide in the digestive system that make it uncomfortable or some stomach pain. On the other side, A2 does not release the BCM. And that's why a lot of companies are actually focusing on the breed. And you see milks in the market like says A2, that's A2. So more on beta casein A2, less of A1. And again, it depends on the breed. May support health, kappa casein, and there's nothing about gamma casein. I couldn't find any sources that did any studies. And maybe because it's very small amount. It's 2% out of all the casein. So maybe there's no big interest on it. Yes, go ahead, please.
So the A2 is hot right now, at least in some sectors of the market. And do you know, but I always thought the research was a little sketchy. Like, does it really help? I mean, do you drink A2 milk? Do you subscribe to the theory? Is there enough research to substantiate the theory?
Personally, I'm lactose intolerant. That's my biggest concern. because that caused me more pain compared to the protein. But it's really genetic linked. And the studies shows it's not globally, it's just some regions in the world, they have intolerance to the A1 or trigger a peptide which is naturally available and is in everybody. However, some people, very few, I don't think is a major issue.